I am not Christian myself. I am not pagan. I am not Wiccan. I am Luciferian. And what does Luciferian mean? Well, Luciferian means that I basically do whatever I want without any regards for believing in good or evil. Now, this doesn't mean I do destructive things to people or anything like that. It's quite far from it. In fact, my sole purpose for making these videos is in fact to help people who are interested in these subjects. Now, Luciferian can mean a lot of different things to many different people. It's the same way Christian can mean a lot of different things to many different people. There is no one way to be a Luciferian. There is no one way to be a Satanist. The difference between the two is that a lot of Satanists worship Satan as if they just worship Satan. Many Luciferians do not worship anybody, but they will use the symbology of these deities. They will invoke them. They will do things like that. They will not worship anything. I cannot speak for every Luciferian, and I cannot speak for every Satanist, as it differs greatly for each person. Some Satanists, some Luciferians, I'm certain, probably view Satan and Lucifer as the same being, and will refer to Lucifer as being his name before he fell and became a fallen entity. And that's also the belief Mormons have as well, which is Lucifer was the name of the same being that fell from heaven, but that was his name before he fell. And if anything, the correct name for Lucifer, if he was an angel in heaven, would actually be Lumiel, because the El, the L, as in El, refers to God. And a lot of archangel names have El at the end. So Lumiel means light of God. And if Lucifer was seen as the first angel created, then it would mean the first light created. Again, referring back to Venus, which is symbolic of Lucifer as well. The first star in the morning with the sun. The sun can be seen as God. Lucifer, which is the morning star. The first angel, the first star created after God, if you want to see it in this way. Now, a lot of people refer to Satan, or Lucifer even, as being synonymous with Samael, and Samael means venom of God, in case you didn't know. Anytime you see a name that has El at the end, it is referring to something of God, most of the time. Another translation of a lot of words is that if someone had a name like, okay, let's look at, real quick, let's look at the topic of Lilith, and her children were called Lilin, or the Il sound refers to this is actually not referring to God, but a lot of Hebrew people refer to any name that has El in it like that, like Baal, then it is referring to a being which is sick, although not literally. Most of the time it simply refers to being sick with something that is not of God. So if you see the words like Baal, a lot of the oldest traditions of Hebrews and language, never mind, a lot of those groups, sorry for that, a lot of those groups will see any name translated from Hebrew as to meaning, or referring to demons, as being not of God. So Lilin refers to children that are not of God. Lilin refer to Lilith's children. And that's just something random I thought I should mention because it was on my mind flowing with the ideas of Samael and El. So, Satan and Lucifer are not the same entity. Again, going back to the main subject at hand. So, there's a lot you can research into this. I'm sure there are some things online you can find talking about the differences between the two, other than just this. The primary thing to remember is that beliefs differ from group to group, so use discretion when trying to determine what each group actually is saying. Not every single satanic group or Luciferian group thinks the same way. And there are a lot of people that believe they are different beings, and they they are not even Luciferian or Satanist. In fact, Lucifer comes from a Roman word, and Satan is Hebrew. So, again, the words themselves are different from different languages. This alone should pique your curiosity into researching into that. Now, do they carry similar traits if you're looking at it from a Luciferian perspective? Yes, they do, and they can. they can both be seen as liberators of the mind, because that's what they represent. They represent being adversarial to the light, which permeates through everything and tries to conform things to its will. Now, whenever I say this, a lot of people are going to, detest what I have to say regarding the light. But you see, any perspective, in my opinion, is valid. Any perspective is valid because the mind will not let you experience anything otherwise. So, regardless of what you believe, you're right. So think on that and realize that maybe you should begin to think differently before you begin assuming that two things are the same, unless you want to potentially experience those two elements as the same one, if that makes sense. It's like trying to say you want to experience a burn and a cut at the same time, saying they're the same thing, whenever one can hurt a lot more than the other, even though a cut could easily be harmless. But a burn is almost always pretty painful. So keep this in mind. Research Satan and Lucifer, different names, different beings, and make up your own decision about that. I will go into more about Luciferianism in my next video. Thank you for watching.